What's going on, guys? Ben here, and today we are checking out 15 NextFest demos from the recent February to March 2025 NextFest. And this isn't scripted or anything, I'm just going to kind of do this off the cuff. Tried about 30 or so demos from the 50 to 60 that I downloaded during this NextFest. There wasn't enough time to try them all out. I did a couple of streams, so there'll be 2 streams that you'll be able to see on the live section of my YouTube channel, where you can go back and watch those. We did like one more horror focused where we looked through 6 horror games, and then we did one which was more kind of action survival kind of focused where we looked through, I think we managed to get through 4 games on that one. There's a few there that you'll be able to see in greater detail, and you might see some of the footage of those in this video that I'm doing now for you as well. I had fun with these, so we're going to just rattle through these and just give you a little quick look at what they are, show a little bit of background gameplay of them as well. You can always then add it to the wish list and check it out if it's something that looks like it's up your street. As always, thank you so much for the support. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what demos that you tried out during this period and which ones impressed you. There wasn't enough time for me to go through and try them all out, so I'm actually going to do this in alphabetical order, so because that's how it's listed in my Steam. So to start things off, we're gonna talk about AFTERBLAST. So AFTERBLAST kind of felt like Doom and RoboQuest combined together. You had this roguelite FPS going on. You can apparently do a co-op. I only did everything in this video. I've only actually experienced solo, but it's one of those ones where you can play it with friends, and it's randomly generate dungeons. Enemy design looked quite cool. They had a cool mechanic where as you kind of weaken an enemy, they'll glow blue, and then you can like throw your chain to like zoom in towards them and basically melee kill them and finish them off, and that will give you health regen. And so it had that very kind of push forward kind of combat that Doom is well known for. The colors and the music and everything felt nice and smooth, ran quite well. That was from Limino Games. That's actually got a tentative release month of April 2025, so if that's something that's up your street, that will be something that you'll be able to check out very soon. Next one was Check and Clean, a little bit like a Breach and Clear or something like that. Like you can, but like first person, and you have this bullet time. You basically pick up and choose your weapon. You can choose your attachments and stuff like that. Quite like that system of, you know, being able to choose whether you want a red dot or an ACOG, like silencer or not. And then the catch here is that you put C4 on the room, on the door, and that will start the timer. And once the door is open, you've then got to go through and clear each room out and basically clean the room, check and clean. The caveat here is that you've got a button that you can press to view the cameras within the rooms, and it will tell you where the enemies are, and there'll be like a little numbers above them, which is the order that they will shoot you in. So you kind of know that you want to shoot the first person before the second person, for instance, because again, you can die pretty quickly, if not in one shot as well. Very kind of focused on reflexes, learning the area. It seems to randomly generate it as well. Kind of gives you these kind of explosive kind of moments with some good music in the background, and you kind of get to kind of have a little scope of it. Kind of could view it as like a John Wick simulator in a way, where you're just walking in and taking out everyone and stuff like that. So really enjoyed my time with that. Wasn't very good at it, but it was quite fun. Quite a fun idea. Next up, we got Dust Raiders. This is from Vixa Games, published by Games Operators. Stepping into an unforgiving wasteland, Mad Max style, with these kind of vehicles that you're doing up and these convoys that you can have. And it kind of creates this kind of, not necessarily turn-based, but it's like tile-based. You're kind of driving along in like a grid. You can move the vehicles around, dodging oncoming like trees and things like that, but then you're fighting other vehicles. The people you recruit and the RPG elements of it, you're able to then basically like hit out and put people in the right style of like vehicle, and you kind of got this little overworld that you can kind of go and explore. I enjoyed it. It seemed quite difficult as well at times. I actually failed a couple of times in the demo. Worth checking out if you like that kind of tactical style. Empyreal was one that I checked out on stream. It's an action RPG on an expedition to go into these monoliths, and you have these cartograms, which are basically your levels facing the automatons that yet remain. In the demo, you could try like a mason shield. They had a glaive, and there was also like a cannon kind of weapon. I didn't actually try that one in the demo. And if anything, I would say it felt a little bit like Remnant 2. You've got your hub with all your traders, and then you kind of load in the level that you want to go into, and then you have chances to get loot and upgrade your loot and your gear and things. A bit more melee focused than Remnant in that regard. I enjoyed it. I thought it looked quite nice. Voice acting seemed good as well. Seems like there is a little bit of a story there. Has some nice like parrying and dodging mechanics and stuff like that. So if you're a fan of those kind of, I wouldn't say Souls-like by any means, but it's probably just a little bit below that's got some difficulty to it, needs some timing and some parries. Had some really cool movesets, and the combat felt quite fluid. So I had a good time with that one. Next, we have Eternity's Echo Patient Zero. This is another one we looked at on stream. This was just really cool. Very like sci-fi horror. You play as a DIB agent, Rain Williams. You basically look for mysterious anomalies, and we're basically hunting down this like girl that's escaped that we assume has some kind of dangerous powers. We're also then coming up across these kind of monsters that you can only see with the UV light on your pistol, which was a really unique concept. Really just like that idea of like the heightened horror of it, that these monsters are actually invisible. And obviously you can use your UV, but your UV has a charge, so make sure that you're using it sparingly. I just like the vibe of this one. It was just a really unique premise. I actually really liked it, really enjoyed playing through it, and had a nice little amount of jump scares, but it was a bit more actiony than like a true kind of horror kind of one. You definitely got your pistol, you got this like throwing knife thing that you can recall like boomerang style back to you and stuff like that. So I thought it was a good demo and a good taster of it, and excited to see more of that when that releases. That is just coming soon, doesn't have a date or anything like that. If any of these games do have dates, I'll specify, but otherwise they're just coming soon. Anyway, next we've got Fellowship, which I will have a separate video of this showing this in a bit more detail. This is basically the TLDR. It's basically like if you were playing Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft, but it was just the dungeons. Just the dungeons, just the raids, no overworld, no story, no. And you might be thinking that sounds horrendous, but for some people who just wanted playing the dungeons and going around with the tank, 2 DPS and healer kind of combo setup, and running through with predefined characters, like these classes are set characters and they have their set move sets. Kind of set characters, there were 6 I think that we could choose from, a few maps that we could try and that. And you kind of just match make in. You can play with 3 players, 3 other players that you can obviously jump in with your friends, but otherwise it will just quick match and kind of duty find the dungeon for you. You load in, and what you're really doing it for is to gain gear, to increase your item level, to then be able to do higher tiers of that. And they basically say it's an infinite scaling, like you can just keep going up and up. You basically are then trying to build the ultimate team of tanks, healers and damage dealers. Play around with your skills, and you got uptimes, you got your global cooldown, your GCDs and everything. So if you're familiar with MMOs in that regard, just think of it as just being able to you got a hub system where you can do all your upgrades and stuff like that, and then you're pretty much just going into dungeons and doing those constantly. So this is be announced. It's not got a date coming out yet. I actually really liked this. The art style was a little bit cartoony, nice and colorful though, and actually played really well. So actually enjoyed it. Next we have Game of Thrones Kingsroad. Now this is probably the one that's on this list that's with the asterisks of, I personally like this because I'm a nerd and a fan of Game of Thrones, and although I feel like this game is like 4 or 5 years too late from the demo, I've really enjoyed it, and we will have I think it's just under 2 hours, like a long play first impressions, like the first 2 hours of the demo. I will have that up on the channel shortly. I think it will be up after this video that I'm recording right now, so that's why I'm saying it in a future tense. It was actually quite enjoyable, but with the caveat that like the audio was good, the visuals were okay. I would say it looks a little bit PS4, Xbox One era. It doesn't look next gen. It doesn't look like, or current gen, should we say. Played a little bit like Shadows of Mordor, or, you know, a Hogwarts Legacy in a way. Maybe just with a dash of polish less than those 2 games. What I would say is it has like an online world. It feels a little bit like New World or Lost Ark, because it has these currencies, it has world chat. It's not an MMO. It's PvE, and you've got the option of co-op. I didn't really experience that in the demo. As far as I'm aware, you can play through it solo, but you are connected online. It is like a world chat and stuff like that. So, and there's all these like materials and rewards for doing. When you see it, and it's probably from some of the footage you're watching now, probably getting the idea of it, that it's got all these different currencies. It's got locked things of like weekly limits of rewards. These are the bits I'm not necessarily a fan of, but the game itself was actually quite fun as someone who likes Game of Thrones. So if this is free to play and it's not too egregious with its like gatekeeping of like you know, forcing you to grind or forcing you to like pay in the store, which is my fear, and then it could be something that's quite good. If it's like a paid title, that might be quite disappointing actually, if you then got to then also lean heavily into the cash shop. I don't know, conflicted with this one. This one's release date is Q2 2025. We'll have to see. I'm curious with this one, how this one goes. I actually, like I said, enjoyed the gameplay, but worried about what comes with it and what strings are attached basically. Next we have Order 13. This was the one where we play as basically a worker in a warehouse. We also for some reason live in the warehouse too. We have a little cat, that's our pet, and we got to then fulfill and pick and pack the orders. You basically have like 300 seconds basically to 5 minutes each time roughly to go and grab the stuff, come back. The caveat here is that this is a horror and there is like monsters and hallucinations and things roaming around in that warehouse that you've got to dodge and run away from. Was definitely a jumpy experience. Again, this was one that was on the live stream that we did. So again, you'll be able to check that out. All those live streams have timestamps of the games as well. So you'll be able to like just jump and check out the ones that you care about most if you just want to see those ones. This one is apparently coming March 2025. So this one's coming very soon. Really, really cool. This was from Cybernetic Walrus and Oro Interactive. I enjoyed this one. It was good. Next, another one we did on stream was Post Trauma. This was very, very good. This was like a throwback to clearly Resident Evil inspired from Red Soul Games and Raw Fury. And you're kind of in a subway, like a Japanese subway station, and you're waking to find yourself in a twisted reality full of mind-bending puzzles, breathtaking tension, and unspeakable nightmares. It was really cool. The puzzles and having to find the little bits and pieces, like we had to find some fuses to like put power on in the building and stuff, different like little codes written on the walls and things like that. It was really, really cool. Some of the enemies in combat as well, lots of tension. The music was stunning. The cinematography of it as well, like the directorship, like the camera angles, because it's like fixed camera angles. Some of that stuff was like really well done as well, like just really tasteful and artful. Excited for this one. You can tell it was made by horror fans. Got fully voiced acting cast as well. Really nice score. Looking forward to this one. This one has actually got a release date, 31st of March 2025 is coming out. Don't know about price on this one, but this one is definitely one I'm going to be checking out. Really enjoyed it. It was good. Next up we have Regeneration. This was from Empyreal Games, and this was a third-person survival horror game. Very sci-fi, alien-like. Presume we're on like an alien-like planet kind of thing. These strange creatures and very kind of Last of Us kind of what's the mushroom thing called? The cordyceps. Wasn't quite like that, but was definitely had that kind of vibe to it. Really, really interested in that one. This one's just got a 2025 release date. There is a video on my YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Combat I feel was a little bit lacking. Like if you compare it to Post Trauma that we were just talking about, Post Trauma had better kind of third-person survival combat than Regeneration, but yeah, I love a bit of a sci-fi horror, and so yeah, Regeneration was really ticking that box for me. Next up we have Solarpunk. Solarpunk is just a really chill, I mean, it says it's a survival game, you're on these floating islands, but it's very like chill. Yes, you do have to worry about your food and thirst and your health. At least in the demo there wasn't any real other than you just falling off the side of the island or starving to death. There wasn't really any threat or enemies or anything like that. Very chill, being able to just go and gather your materials. Didn't feel too grindy or monotonous either. And we started getting into, up until the end of the demo, started getting into you know, a bit of the electricity side of things and automating with wind turbines, solar panels, sprinkler systems and all that kind of stuff too. And we had a little peek at what was coming up. This one felt very cozy vibes. You can play this with friends as well. Coming 2025. The demo ran flawlessly. Again, streamed this one, so that will be on the link in the description as well if you want to check that out. It was good. Very nice, and some cool systems in place, and actually a lot of quality of life stuff that a lot of games coming out in this kind of genre don't necessarily have straight away. Looking forward to this one for sure. Next up we have Stygian Outer Gods. So this one was a kind of survival horror. I did a separate video on this as well, which will be linked in the description below. And this one is unraveling a 1,000-year-old mystery, risk of sanity, and face the outer gods with your skills. Every bullet and every decision counts now. You're up to the task. Basically a little bit of a choices matter RPG. You get to like answer some initial questions in the mirror about your kind of self and your belief, and that will affect whether you're good at talking to people, whether you're like good at lock picking, your stamina levels and all that kind of stuff. So really cool like little RPG aspect there. Visually looked really nice, loved the art style, and you're basically going to this abandoned port of Kingsport. We've kind of washed up on shore there, just as we were starting to find out what's going on with some sort of cult or, you know, people there like overthrown the villagers and stuff like that. The demo kind of ended, so it definitely left me on the edge of my seat and wanting more there, which is always a good sign. Had some really cool ideas and traits, systems and things like that. So I liked that there was a few different ways you could approach them things. That's always good to see in just a small little snippet. Again, 15-20 minute demo. Wasn't a huge amount of hands-on time, but was nice to just get an idea. This one's also from Empyreal Games, who are making Regeneration as well. So they're kind of making 2 games at the same time, which I'm wondering how that all works. But yeah, that was Stygian Outer Gods, and again, another one that I've added to the wish list. Next, we have Total Chaos. Now, this one was phenomenal. I've probably my highlight of all of these. I've done a separate video of my playthrough of this, and again, linked in the description below. Wow, this is apparently a mod, like a remake from the ground up of a mod for Doom 2, which was called Total Chaos. And they've kind of made it in Unreal Engine 5 and from the ground up. And you're basically trapped on Fort Oasis, and we're exploring and running through it all, but we have no idea at all about this kind of the psyche of the person we're controlling. We actually have to like descend into madness to like move through the lighting, the atmosphere, just everything of this was so good. And some of the gameplay elements it was bringing in. I said during playing this, you want to see the full playthrough, I said during this, it reminds me of like an older Xbox 360 game called Condemned Criminal Origins. It's very like melee focused, and melee weapons have like a lot of weight to them and heavy light attacks, and it just felt very, very good with that. And yeah, very excited to play more of this. The demo gives you like the first 2 chapters roughly. Really, really recommend this one. Trigger Happy Interactive and Apogee Entertainment are the developers and publishers respectively for that, and I can't wait to check this one out when it fully comes out. Almost there. We now have Twisted Tower. This was one I did on stream as well. Really, really fun. What happens if you get like We Happy Few and Bioshock, and it all just gets thrown in together. Like, it was just very, very good. Lots of Bioshock references, like hugely on the nose of that mallet that you run around with and then gorily like beat up these like enemies. You've got these telephone bomb things that come towards you. You've got duck enemies with double barrel shotguns. It's wild, and it is like that. And you're collecting these tickets to then basically upgrade your weapons to make them stronger and things like that. Very kind of Metroidvania-esque as well, because as you explore and unlock these things, you'll unlock the elevator token ticket things that allow you to go to different levels in the elevator, and that's kind of how you move along the levels. It was just very, very cool. Ran very well as well. It was just an enjoyable game. And there's no release date, it just says coming soon for this, but this had a remarkable amount of polish on it. It was one I'm looking forward to, and was good fun. Was good fun. And lastly, we've got Wanderstop. So Wanderstop is, I featured this in my games coming in March video, but this is from the creator of Stanley Parable, but it's a narrative-centric cozy game. Managing like a tea shop, and very cozy, very relaxing. Got this kind of hex grid system where you plant your seeds, and you can then like change and level them up and things like that. And you get to make your tea and everything. Like the demo was a very, very short, I would say. It just ended as you were getting, basically make one drink, one tea, and it's done. But just gave you a little snippet. Now this one is actually coming 11th of March. This one's coming very soon at time of recording. It was good, nice little cozy one, not really focused on combat or anything. You're like an ex-warrior who's taken one too many injuries, and now you're just making tea in the middle of the forest, and you got this like wide open area that you can kind of run around and gather your materials and stuff. Bit more of a like a cozy vibe, chill one, but like the art style with this one, and just looked very nice. That was the 15 kind of NextFest demos that I came across that I managed to actually I tried and really liked. There were a handful of ones that I've tried as well that either didn't make it on the list for whatever reason, or I just didn't get round to trying them out, unfortunately. So do let me know if there was any that you enjoyed. Remember to just leave a comment below. Let me know which ones you would recommend, or for me to check out on the wish list at least. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.